Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me at this lab. I'm Chris K. Wanted to document this process of designing a to-do app, um, from design, from research to um, full development. Hopefully, I get it out to development. Uh, it seems pretty basic, but there are many coding tutorials out there on building a to-do app, and there are many case studies designing to-do apps. So there are lots of resources to help us with our secondary research. Um, this also makes a to-do app a good first project to include in your portfolio. But the methods and the process I'll be using in these series of videos can be applied to any type of project. And I've made a sort of cursory search of full design to development resources on YouTube. There's not many. There is one, a couple from Free Code Camp on user research. Really good video. But I wanted to document this process and how I would go about doing things. Most of the other videos that kind of talk about designing apps after you've validated your idea. But there's a big part of the process that I think is missing, research and discovery, getting the ideas in the first place for making an app, or planning the coding of your project with all your sketches and ideas and diagrams and plans already in place. A lot of those videos have that. I wanted to go fully from scratch and see how this goes. So I hope that this kind of fills a gap. Um, the To-Do app is usually a good first project for developers for several reasons. The To-Do app helps developers explore programming language features like lists and data structures, modifying, adding, and deleting items. For designers, To-Do apps a great test project to put in a case study. And the great thing I love about to-do apps is that most of us has used some kind of task creation tool or calendar. Organization is something most people are concerned about, so we'll have many opportunities for user interviews or usability tests. Another thing about the to-do app is it's a great example of exploring various ways of approaching and building an app. And we'll be seeing that there are some common models when we look at other apps in our research, but also some variations and tweaks. I think that sometimes people get caught up into doing something new or innovative, but there's always going to be problems to solve, even with well-trodden paths that's already been taken. And it's interesting to see how you can improve on existing solutions. For us, this is a perfect starting point. There are other frameworks out there, but what we'll be using in these series of videos is the design thinking. I just wanted to make a note on using AI. Sometimes we'll be using AI, but it will be really as a supplement. So, like for instance, for some planning materials to prepare, like such as documents, maybe for like planning research or whatever, we could possibly venture into using ChatGPT. But it's not going to be solely about using AI. This is going to be about designing an app based on the findings that we come up with. All right, so now I just want to take you through the product design roadmap that we've laid out here. So first is going to be the research and discovery, and this is where we'll get the business requirements and goals. Perhaps perhaps the goal would be to put the app on a marketplace for feedback. This is a way of getting some research insights. Additional requirements like technical requirements, mark calendar due dates, notes, sharing. This is where we'll get, we'll hammer down some basic features of the To-Do app, the core functionality of the To-Do app, like task creation, deletion, saving and storing items. This is where we'll get into the crux of what users need. Also, industry trends and best practices, and who are we designing for. And here's a list of some deliverables. Not all of this will be made, but maybe some, or maybe all, depending on the scope of the research. But we'll see. Definitely a UX research plan, outlining the background details and questions of the plan. Maybe a user persona or proto persona, but we'll definitely be doing some preliminary discovery before then. Some market research. So I've kind of here I'm using Notion, and I've already compiled a list of kind of tools that could possibly help in the production of research for this app. Competitive analysis. So that's why you'll see these little folders here or pages, and definitely thinking about the types of apps that would be used for to-dos. Also, perhaps making a mood board. I would be using mobin.com for getting user flows of some apps, and it's a great tool. There's other tools out there. I haven't looked at a great many of them, but I know that there's some of them out there. Mobin.com is a really good resource for getting inspiration or just hammering out user flows and seeing how other apps are structured. And we'll definitely, at the end of this phase, the research discovery phase, be developing a problem statement. Next, in this phase, the analysis phase, we're going to be analyzing either user research or secondary research or interviews, or both, driving insights to inform design decisions. The deliverables I've outlined here, user research analysis. I refer back to this page of UX research tools that I've kind of compiled to look at. Competitive analysis, and possibly persona refinement. We've got a persona, or maybe our proto persona. And now we will, and in this phase, we kind of go through the refinement of the characteristics of the user, perhaps even fleshing out a little bit of the journey for the user. The next phase, phase 3, would be ideation and problem definition. We'll be making to-do app sketches, basically, and if you're going to get stuck, it doesn't hurt to draw boxes and shapes. Brainstorm, mind mapping, like good stuff to get us started. Like a blank page is always a very scary thing. And the deliverables will be wireframes, low fidelity sketches, or digital representations of the app's layout and structure. Again, I've compiled some sketching and ideation tools, but I think one of the big things we'll be using here is just pencil and paper. It's still good. Maybe some isometric grids. Really excellent tools for really exploring and diverging ideas. In phase 4, we have the information architecture, and here is where we'll somewhat into the ideation phase, but we'll be organizing the structure. Really, I'm kind of envisioning this app as a desktop app, as a single page application, and the deliverables will be the user flow diagrams. Again, I've made a page here of tools that can help with laying out the structure of the information and the navigation of the app. And we'll be hammering out the sitemap and the navigation design. Phase 5 is really where we have gotten some ideas about other apps on the market. We've already hammered some design directions, and we'll be creating a cohesive design, visual design mostly, and perhaps we'll be looking at making a style guide, high fidelity mock-ups, and designs, and maybe making a design system, perhaps creating a fresh system or customizing an open source design system. Now, I totally get like that, like design system is completely like just like a style guide. It can be very, very comprehensive. If you've seen those open source design systems, like it's doesn't this doesn't require that much of a like heavy implementation of like huge compendium of design guidelines. Like this is just to kind of give us direction and where the design of the app can go. And again, we've just I've compiled some pages here of other resources that can help with this phase of the project. In phase 6, prototyping, we're going to test and validate with really advanced prototypes. Probably, I don't know if we'll probably use Figma or maybe ProtoPie. And this is great for getting people to test something tangible. And it's also great for create buy-in with your stakeholders and investors. Usually people want to see something concrete. Phase 7 is going to be the usability testing once the prototype is in process. And then we're going to be gathering user feedback, usability, validate design assumptions, and identify areas for improvement. Possibly cycling back to phase 6 for improvements and updating the prototype. Research repo, I'm not too sure. Maybe I'll just use Notion for collecting user research insights. And of course, this will be, revised. And we have presentation reporting tools page here. As I was doing my research earlier for getting app design project going. And of course, phase 8, we have handoff to developers, which will be, again, yours truly, me. Provide developers with the necessary assets and information for implementation. Deliverables will be design specifications, detailed documentation outlining design elements, dimensions, and behavior. Asset files, exported visual assets for use in development. Phase 9, launch and monitor. Deliverables, launch plan, document outlining the steps and timeline for launching the product. Monitoring and analytics setup. I've never done any of this stuff, so I'll just you've given you fair warning here. So this is kind of a learning experience for me as well. Phase 10, iterate and improve. So this could be in tandem with the prototype. and setting up a development environment. Uh, I haven't really decided on what technology stack to use, but most likely for single page applications, I think it would be good to use React. But anyways, this is how it's going to go, and we're going to continually enhance the product with the prototype and the MVP, and hopefully, we'll see some really good insights about what users need when building out this app. So that is the product design roadmap, and I don't know how this is going to go, but it will be the start of the full design process, which is part one, and part two will be the development. And this, I don't know if each episode, if if each phase is going to be an episode, or or each phase will be like stretched over a couple of episodes. But that's it, and we'll see. Thank you for joining me in this first uh, uh, journey into the building To Do app. Thank you, and good night.